Welcome to the Magic Academy. Today we're going to be discussing how to awaken your psychic abilities. Stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing how to awaken your psychic abilities. And we're going to be asking answering a few questions, and presenting a few questions with answers about having psychic gifts, and if it's something you can develop, is it something you have to be born with? We're going to discuss all of that. So first, let me dive into a couple of questions. The first thing that we always think of is, do you have to be born a psychic? Is it a gift that awakens on its own in you from birth or at a later date and time in your life? Is it something that wakes you up, or is it something that you can develop and awaken within yourself? Okay? Actually, it's both, and not one is greater than the other. However, being psychic really is a magical subject. And when I say that, what I mean is it's a magical lesson that you can learn. And even if you're born with the gift of any kind of psychic abilities, it is something that you also have to develop and nurture and grow in order to understand it and become fully aware of your gift and how it works for you. So whether you're born with it or whether you decide and choose your psychic ability, your psychic gifts like tarot reading or dream interpretation or symbol interpretation, what have you, those kind of things can be developed. Okay, they're magical tools, and our magical tools help us with interacting with what's beyond the veil, right? And as wise people, that's what this whole religion is all about, is being able to have understanding of what's beyond the veil and what we're walking in the mundane right now as well, and how it all affects our life and the possibilities that it can help play out in our future. Just all sorts of things that you would want answers to from all the mysteries is what is supposed to be revealed in your magical lessons as you learn your magical path. Okay, so to answer that question, it can be learned. You do not have to have taken to it from birth, and it doesn't have to have come to you in any specific way. You can actually sit down, start with tarot cards, start with the pendulum, start making those connections with magical tools, and you can develop your psychic awareness that way, okay, and get it started through those avenues firstly, okay. And then as you grow and you become aware of your spirit guides and how they speak to you, then you'll be attuned, okay. You attune yourself when you're learning magic and your magical path. You can become attuned to your psychic avenue, okay, your telephone line to the psychic and mystery world, okay? Or you can be born with it, or it can grab a hold of you and say, hey, I'm trying to tell you something, whether you wanted the gift or not. And even if that happens and that's the case, you still have to develop it. You still have to learn your connection and the meanings and the symbols and what it all pertains to, and your path, and what the responsibility is for your interpretation that you're supposed to be receiving. So even if you're born with it, there's still a learning process. Okay, there's still wisdom involved. And I'm just going to put this out there right now. One of the major responsibilities with any of this is honesty. Okay, and your ability to have researched definite magical definitions in the first place, and their origins, because what a swan symbol would mean for a Celtic is going to be different for a magical person in another country, or a person from another country who has never encountered a swan. Okay, It could mean that they're going to have a Celtic encounter with a druid. It could mean that they're going to, so they may be, reaching a door or something. They could be, it could be anything. It could be non-Celtic meaning to them 100%. So you have to kind of get to know symbols and their meanings from all walks of life. Whether it's from Africa, some of the Far East Asias, whether it's from Greece or Rome, because they're different meanings as well. Even though they're very similar, there can be some differences. And then there again, Scottish versus Irish, German versus anything else, whatever that the symbol's origin is, like a hippopotamus, what part of the world did that first come from? So what would be the meanings from there? And also a hippopotamus, as it has appeared in zoos around the world or was given as gifts to kings and queens around the world, and its migration patterns or anything else, what could those symbols mean? You have to figure out, is it from the source? Is it from its later source? You never know. You never know until you're experiencing that meaning, and it's different each time you encounter it. For example, if you're given a tea reading and you see a hippopotamus, for example, what it means for that person in that tea reading is going to be different than possibly, more than likely, than what it might mean for somebody else, because somebody might have a different origin, or they might be having a different origin encounter where that's going to be important to them. And that's something you're going to have to get to know. You have to study. You see what I'm saying? You have to get your studies. If you want to be an accurate psychic and not misleading, and do your best, you're going to have to get to know your symbols. So here's something to introduce to you too. As you're getting to know those symbols, because you're opening, that magical textbook, and you're studying that path, when it starts awakening, you're going to experience those symbols in your life, and you're going to experience what they mean to you, so you can better understand in many different facets. And you might experience it 10 times in a year. You might experience it twice in a year. You might only experience it once. But you're going to experience it as much as you need to for you to get the understanding of the different meanings that it can have, so you can fully understand that symbol, okay, and the possibilities that that symbol might bring in a definition for spiritual, for mundane, for, heritage, for whatever it might pertain to. So you'll get to know that. So it's really important to study. You have to study, okay? Whether you are natural or you are just picking it up because it's something you want to learn, you're introducing yourself to it. Either way, you have to study just as hard, because nobody is born knowing all the symbols. Some of us have, some people that are born psychics, or once you unlock your gift, it will develop for you. You'll have the interpretation with the symbol. Boom, right there. It'll just naturally come to you in many different ways. And we'll get into that in another class, like all the different ways. But right now we're just introducing how to awaken it, okay? So there we go. So you can awaken it even further if you're natural born to it, or if you aren't born to it, you can choose your psychic gift and try to awaken it. So what kind of psychics are there? Okay, there are psychics that only use magical tools, that they get their information, they get their symbols and their definitions from the spirit world through crystals, through tarot cards, or any other kind of magical card, through spirit boards, through pendulums, through tea readings, right? So palm reading, any sort of reading, that's how they get their sight, or how they get their messages. They get them through tools. And there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a psychic through tools, through magical tools. It's a study, and it's something that is honored by the goddess, so, and the god, so it's definitely spirit talking to you when you're getting that interpretation. However, you have to watch when you're first learning, because I've noticed that some people will love to like tell omens. You know, some people have that drama side to their psychic readings, where they like to tell omens like, oh, we've gotten the death card, so there's going to be some death in the future. Maybe watch out for your pets if everybody's healthy. You know, maybe you're going to come across a stranger that's going to die. It's going, you know, that's not the case. That is so not the case. When you get the death card in a tarot reading, more often, you know, over 99% of the time, it is just telling you that a cycle is ending, or something is ending, or maybe someone is leaving. And it might not be through death, and it could be, but it could be the ending of something that you're going to have a new beginning from. You're going to have to let go of that person in some way other than death. It's not an omen, a foretelling omen of negativity that somebody's going to die. So do not be the reader that thinks, oh, I want to be a psychic because, you know, I'm going to be able to foretell all negativity. I'm going to be able to tell the end of the world. I'm going to be able to tell... No, that's really not what you should be focusing on. What you should be focusing on is using it for direction. Do you see what I'm saying? Just everyday direction, a little bit of future direction, and that type of thing. If you're looking to be the big omen teller, then you're gonna possibly get into those pitfalls of mistakes and be the one that these YouTube videos tell about often, where they're like, okay, so let's test the psychic, you know, and it gets to be kind of embarrassing at the end of the year when nothing came true because they foretold all these omens. So yeah, get that out of your head and out of your interest. Okay, if you interpret an omen, then interpret it very carefully. You will definitely know. Okay, it'll be confirmed. It is never something that is just an omen. Okay, that is just like you are the one voice that's going to let them know. So just relax about that. Let it go. Yeah. If somebody is wondering about a certain negative thing, and they're wondering if some negativity could be connected to an action, and that's what you're seeking a question on, then you may get an answer about that. But be careful, because it can always change as well. And that's the whole point, is for fortune telling and being a psychic, is also looking for what to be aware of, you know, the omen maybe. What is the obstacle that is causing that omen? Really important to draw that card. And what is the higher power to help you overcome that? What is the card, the action that you can take, or the frame of mind that you can take? What card will help you overcome that omen? And maybe draw 2 or 3 of things that may be able to help you overcome that. Usually just one will help you overcome it, and it really does. So in my experience, that is the way to handle omens. Okay, they are just a foretelling of what could happen, and you definitely want to seek what trumps it. You know, what in the world is the action or focus that you need to take to avoid that outcome. All right, that's super, super important. Okay. So nextly, what kind of psychics are there? Like I said, so you could read through magical tools. Okay, so maybe you have to read through tools. Maybe you get your answers through spirit board, which is still a magical tool. You can be clairvoyant. You could be, I'll list all the different kinds below because I'm drawing a blank right now, but there's many different kinds of psychics. You could be auditory. You could actually hear a message like a voice or a sound or something that lets you know. So you can be very auditory. You can have visions, okay, while you're awake. You can have visions in your dreams. You can have a feeling there's all kinds of psychic phenomena out there, non-phenomenon out there. You could awaken somewhere, okay, and physically be present in a future moment. All right? You could have your spirit guide right next to you in that moment, telling you everything that's going to happen. Now that's an extremely powerful moment when that happens, and not very common. Excuse me, not very common. And you know, even though it might be more common than we realize, probably, when it does happen, a lot of times our mundane mind forgets it, and we forget it until the future, and it's drawing near, and then we'll have a dream about the experience. Okay, so we'll be reminded. Your spirit guide isn't going to leave you without it. They're going to come and bring it back to you when it's necessary, but they may not leave it for you to have in your hands and make the mistakes that you would make if you remembered it, right? Ooh, that's some sweet tea. So there's, you know, actual being present in a future experience with your spirit guide, or however, you know, so like that's like flying, okay? So that's basically like flying oil. So there's a tool as well that can help you experience that. And I don't mean using hallucinogens. I'm just talking about a corresponding herb. That's it. You know, honestly, any kind of oil or anything that you've filled with your intent for flying oil will work just fine. It doesn't have to even be a specific herb. All right, so there's many different kinds of psychic experiences and gifts and talents. And like I said, I'll leave a list below. I'm not going to get into it because each one can be a class on their own and can be a full lifetime study. Can dreams be psychic? As I just said, yes, they can be. Your spirit guide can talk to you, your inner person can talk to you, your higher self can talk to you in a dream, as well as your future children, your past children, many, you know, your friends, etc. Even if they don't know they're trying to reach out to you, they could be reaching out to you in their sleep. Whether it's just an emotion they're having while they're sleeping, and then it can connect with yours, even if you've never seen each other in like 50 years. It can totally affect you in your sleep. Okay, and you can have a psychic connection, and whether it's just a connection, like a phone call, like, oh, hello, yeah, oh, okay, yes, and then you float on a memory or a feeling together, okay, a nostalgia, positive or negative, and it's something to note, you know, and it also reveals things about that person. Sometimes it will come along and give you nostalgia where you don't need it. So always beware of that nostalgia. Break that open. Break the nostalgia egg open. Never fall for nostalgia in a psychic vision, because sometimes that's a guise trying to hide a meaning to you. So crack open that nostalgia and get behind it and see what the workings are. Use your tools. Get in there and see what it is. But yeah, dreams can be a really, really, really connective, meaningful form of psychic awareness and psychic work. You can dream on purpose. You know, surround yourself with crystals. Sleep on a crystal. Put a crystal under your mattress. Put some mugwort or something under your mattress. Some lavender, you know, even some rosemary. Just anything that you feel will help increase your psychic awareness. And getting warm. And you can have a lot of dreaming experiences. Whatever you use, always use some protection. You know, use cinnamon if you want to increase it, if you want to make it really strong. Use, you know, white sage if you want to have some protection while you're having your psychic experience. Just some leaves sprinkled into an herb bag is fine, okay? That will work just fine. But dreams are amazing. When you have dreams, okay, this is the misunderstanding about dream work that a lot of people make. The average person and even the most experienced person can make, and even I make it sometimes. I'll have a dream and I'll be like, I know that was a psychic dream. I know it was. I have to figure out what the meaning was. And I walk away and the first thing I think about is, how did I feel? Mistake number one. How did you feel? Well, you may have felt terrified, but as you look up the dream symbols, maybe it was actually a peaceful dream, but you were terrified because you were afraid of the psychic experience. And you didn't realize that that's what you were afraid of. So if you have fear, there's caution. Be weary of like what, you know, the experience could be. Always look for the caution in it. But at the same time, what you're supposed to be looking for is not just the feeling. You're supposed to look at each symbol. So when you're interpreting your dreams, for example, if you dream of being in a blue room, obviously you need to interpret blue. You also need to see how many walls were in the dream, because there's a number that's come your way, right? And you also need to look up the meaning of walls. Was there a floor or a ceiling? Or was there no floor and ceiling? You'll need to look at that meaning too, because the absence of something can also be extremely influential in that message. So there are some ways to interpret it. I'll have a class on that sometime in the future. So dream interpretation is one of my things. So as you can see, I love dream interpretation. But you've got to be aware of every bit of those symbols, and you've got to know how to interpret them and what they could possibly mean. And what they might mean to you as the interpreter may be different to the person that had the experience that's calling on you. So you're going to have to talk to them a little bit and figure out, well, tell me about your life. What does blue usually mean to you? And what color of blue? Make them give you an accurate, download a color from the web that's exactly that color. Have them do that. Be as exact as they possibly can be, because that's super important. And was it speckled, or was it solid? Was it translucent? All of those things mean something. And, you know, the magical realm, our spirit guides realm, is filled with nothing but symbols. I mean, like, not nothing but totally symbols. Everything is done on symbols. A lot of conversations that spirits have with each other, spirit guides have with each other, is just symbols. And they're very accurate. They don't make mistakes when they talk to each other. So, I mean, when you are given that conversation, when your spirit guide's having a conversation with you in symbols, then each part of it, that symbol, is super important. You have to be thorough and look up every aspect of it. Okay, so there's that. But dream interpretation is great. I love it. So yes, dreams can be psychic. And, you know, like I said, we'll have a class on that, because dreams can be an amazing way to bond with your spirit guides as well. And I don't mean like seeing them one-on-one, but having them develop you as your psychic abilities. It can be fantastic. And what else did I put on here? Okay, so basically, when you're beginning, okay, and you want to be more psychic, or you want to introduce yourself to being psychic, I would say the first thing to do is get some tarot cards. It's a big study. Learning tarot is a big study. There's 78 cards in an average tarot deck, you know, a Rider-Waite brand tarot deck. They've been around since, what, the 1500s. Years of symbols. They're pretty much all the same symbols. It's the elements, okay? Basically your 5 elements in a set of tarot cards. And each element has, well, the first 4 elements have how many cards? 10, 11, 12, 14. 14 cards to interpret each element. Okay, so 14 for earth, 14 for air, 14 for water, and 14 for fire. Then spirit is your major arcana. Those are your minor arcana. But your major arcana is spirit, the element acacia. Some of those symbols, just from tarot alone, then you can advance into your pendulum reading and learning how to read with pendulums, learning how to read with anything else. But a huge foundation stone of learning your symbols and learning the magical definitions is with tarot. So there really are many kinds of tarot out there, but your basic tarot that is considered your classic tarot definitions, even though it was a later deck is considered the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. Okay, that's your classic tarot deck. That's where you want to begin with. And like I said, begin with tarot because it introduces you and teaches you so many symbols and about the elements on so many different levels that you're going to have that as a foundation for all of your other divination seekings and learnings. Okay, so you'll have that in your toolbox. So definitely start with tarot. We'll do a tarot class sometime too. And yeah, that's what I would say about how to develop your psychic awareness. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. All your likes and subscriptions really helps me to be able to bring more content to you because it gets me more views every time you like something. So please, if this video taught you anything or opened anything for you or was helpful in any way, please give me a thumbs up. And I definitely appreciate your subscriptions, becoming part of the channel. There's a lot here to benefit with, and there will be more in the future. So thank you very much, and good luck with all your awarenesses. Blessed be. So having those symbols as a foundation is really a massive tool. That'll be good enough. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Also, if you're looking for more, go ahead and click the image in the center. That'll take you to all my playlists. And you can find me on my social media in the description below.